Will Giannis become Superman this season? Can Joel Embiid and Paul George stay healthy? Can the Atlanta Hawks finally take a step in the standings? These are the biggest questions of the Eastern Conference. This is our Eastern Conference predictions video. Let's get right into it. Hit the subscribe button, and we're going to get to our bottom 5 teams.
At 15, I got the Brooklyn Nets. At 14, I got the Washington Wizards. At 13, I got the Chicago Bulls. At 12, I have the Charlotte Hornets. And at number 11, I have the Miami Heat.
I have the same 5. The difference is that there's one difference only. 15, I have the Brooklyn Nets. 14, I have the Washington Wizards. 13, I do have the Chicago Bulls. 12, I have the Miami Heat. And 11 is where I have the Charlotte Hornets. Listen, let's start off with 15 very quickly. Brooklyn surprised many last year. Let's just get that out of the way. We all thought they were going to be really bad. And obviously they moved off of some of their players this offseason. And this offseason they kept all their draft picks. Didn't have the greatest draft towards many because they drafted the same position in all of their picks. I just believe that with the whole Cam Thomas drama, Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. on the same team, which means are they going to even pass the ball? There's going to be a lot of different stuff happening there. I think this is finally the year they're going to be, instead of last year, this is going to be the year they're going to take a step back even more than they were last year and be last place. I just think there's a lot of different weird stuff going on. The roster is fine. Michael Porter Jr. will get 20 points a game for sure, but then that's not going to do enough.
These guys suck. This is the best way to describe it. Last year, yeah, they surprised many when they finished 12th place, but like at the end of the day, you surprised many to finish 12th place, which is still bad.
Yeah, and this year you got worse.
This team is literally, they went all in when they got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. That did not work out. They're feeling the effects. Like you said, they got rid of Cam Johnson, brought in Michael Porter Jr. Again, I'm not saying Michael Porter Jr. is a bad player or anything. He is a very solid player. But then you're looking at the 5 first-round picks that they had. Let's be honest. With the weaker draft class than recent years, I would say those 5 first-round picks are not going to make an instant impact. And those 5 first-round picks are going to be, they're going to take time to develop, which is obviously going to hurt them this year. This team's younger. They have a lot of young talent, but now it's about developing their talent, and that just takes time. And for that reason, I have them 15.
Listen, if I'm them, I'm trading away Nick Claxton because he's going to be a very valuable piece for you. Cam Thomas, I'm going to try to trade him because he could be a scoring piece off someone else's bench because you didn't want to pay him, which is, I agree with you, don't have to pay him that much money because of how the style he plays. But yeah, overall, I believe this team this year will finally be last place. 14, we both have the Washington Wizards. I think they will take a little bit of a step. The reason why I have them ahead of the Brooklyn Nets, 1, their young core played together for a year at least, so that's another step forward. 2, they have veterans on their team, CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, that will at least help elevate a little bit. I'm not saying CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton are going to be their all-star or almost all-star form of themselves, but just having those type of vets in your room, having the young guys that take another step forward, Alex Sarr, Bilal Coulibaly, Bob Carrington, all these guys. I just think they should be better than the Brooklyn Nets. Obviously, not enough to catch the other teams ahead of them.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with everything you said. Their young core has played together. Let's see if you see a step from Carrington, a step from Alex Sarr, who didn't have a terrible rookie year, and I do like the vet pieces in terms of Middleton and McCollum more so, just because I do feel like McCollum could pop up.
McCollum could still play a little bit more.
Yeah, McCollum could still play, and he has decent help. This team is developing. They're still in the midst of the rebuild, but I could see a step this year.
Step in the right direction, for sure.
For sure, a step in the right direction, but still 14 is the place to be for them.
13, we finally put them here, the Chicago Bulls. Off camera, you're like, easy 10th place because these guys always do that. But then when you look at this roster, they do not have Zach LaVine anymore. He was a big reason why they would always be in the play-in mix. They don't have DeMar DeRozan anymore. The only guy they really have now is Nikola Vucevic, who I believe is not going to be there. So in terms of talent levels from the previous Bulls teams, it's not the same anymore. I do love Josh Giddey. I do love Kobe White. I do love Matas Bazelis for taking another step, but they're not the same team as Zach LaVine led teams in the past. And on top of that, Some of the Eastern teams are either gonna get healthier or got better, in my opinion. It's finally for them, and it's good for Bulls fans because they're mid as fuck that they finally have. They probably prefer to be in this situation and get some top picks and pair guys off with the Montes Buzelis in the future.
Yeah, 100%. The Chicago Bulls need to do something. They did make the right moves in moving on from DeRozan and Zach LaVine. I still think they should move on from Nikola Vucevic as well. But like you said, Giddey and White were like kind of like my picks for like I think they could still be 10th because these guys are solid players.
They're good, yeah.
But when you're looking at it, how much affected LaVine and DeRozan had before they get traded last year was probably enough for them to stay in contention. But even though the Bulls after that still played similar level ball, but now you're looking at a full season without them, and these guys have never played without Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan before.
DeMar DeRozan last year, yes, but not like
yeah.
DeMar DeRozan was traded in the offseason last year, like sign and trade or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Zach LaVine was during the year.
Yeah, so because of that, I just feel like this could be the year when losing Zach LaVine will hurt this team. And honestly, they need it for their franchise sake.
Do I think they're gonna purposely tank? No, I think they're gonna be forced to tank because they're just not gonna be good. In my personal opinion, you still have Billy Donovan there. He's a good head coach. So, they're obviously still trying to win. It's just like you're not going to be good.
It just depends, really. If Giddey and White just pop off, I could see them carry them to number 10.
But Kobe White's not at the level of Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Like,
as good as he was last year.
Like LaVine and DeRozan were like, yeah, this team is like playing guaranteed. You could look at playoff spot potentially. But yeah, now we're just looking at number 10 as a ceiling for this team.
And that's tough because the two teams we have ahead right now, this is where we differed. You had 12 Charlotte, I have 12 Miami, 11 Charlotte, 11 Miami. I'll start with why I have Miami over here. I just do not like, similar to the Bulls, losing Jimmy Butler is going to be big. I understand Jimmy Butler, who also disappointed me. We'll talk about them more in the Western Conference in the playoffs last year with Golden State. Didn't seem to be the same Jimmy Butler at the start of his Miami tenure. But like you replace him with Andrew Wiggins, you replace him with Norm Powell. Listen, Norm Powell was close to an all-star last year. I get that scoring-wise. Andrew Wiggins has to get into a scoring touch because he didn't need to do that as much in the Warriors as he had to do in Minnesota days. I just don't think they're going to hit that level. Bam, the problem is, here's the thing. This team will go higher, maybe even 10th, if Bam could somehow be aggressive on the offensive end and get buckets. But he hasn't shown that. That's the disappointing end from Bam. And I know his specialty is defense, right? The thing is if he does do that, and then Tyler Hero is assuming he's healthy whenever he gets healthy, then you can see it. But again, Tyler Hero was really good last year as an all-star. I don't see that happening again because he's not that type of vibe for me, is what I'm trying to say. Which is why, and I like Charlotte's team a little bit more, and I'll let you talk about Charlotte here, and I'll talk about Charlotte after for 11.
It's simple. Injuries. This is simple. But both teams. This is a team where like you're looking at. If LaMelo's out, the Hornets are nowhere as good. If Tyler Hero's out, which he is for like probably going to miss a month at least at the beginning of the season, the Miami Heat are nowhere near what the level they were last year. Miami Heat and Tyler Hero last year was incredible. Tyler Hero is a proven player. He, in my opinion, is an all-star level player. I do believe that when this guy's in the lineup and healthy, that the Miami Heat have a shout for play-in spot every single time. But he's missing time to start off, which is going to hurt the Miami Heat, put him behind the 8 ball from the beginning, and then it's going to be hard to catch up from there. But I trust Tyler Hero, and I trust the Miami Heat team more to be, I guess, more healthy. Whereas I'm looking at the Charlotte Hornets, and I like the pieces. Obviously, you love LaMelo Ball. You like Brandon Miller. You like Miles Bridges when he's playing on the court.
You drafted Con Kneppel.
Like, you have really good pieces, but it just really comes down to LaMelo's health, which is, in my opinion,
it's a big
more
thing.
untrustworthy, which I trust less than Tyler Hero's health. And I'm not saying LaMelo and Tyler Hero are the same player. LaMelo Ball is obviously better. Don't get me wrong. But then overall, when you're looking at the team, Miami Heat are more experienced.
Yeah.
Miami Heat have better vets. And because of that, I gave the edge to Miami Heat. But then again, the biggest issue for both of these teams for me and why I've had them missing the play-in spot is just because of injuries and health to their main players.
Yeah. Listen, at the end of the day, you have Spoelstra. I get that. Like, Bam's going to be playing more of the 4, it looks like, with Khalil Ware, who had a good season last year. He's going to start as center. We'll see, right? Like, at the end of the day, Norm Powell, Andrew Wiggins, they go off on a scoring punch. This team could get into the play-in spot for sure. Because at the end of the day, this is where you want to see guys like Jaime Jaquez take a step forward again, right? Because he took a little bit of a bounce back, in my opinion, and Nikola Jovic to take a step forward. If they do, this Miami team can make stuff. I do like Davion Mitchell as a steady defensive guard, and we'll see how it ends up going. Ultimately, this team will be truly tested when we see Tyler Hero get into the mix, and we'll see how this lineup gets adjusted overall. Because one of the guys between probably Norm, I don't know who's going to go to the bench. I think Davion Mitchell will end up going to the bench because Tyler Hero might start playing point guard, which I might not agree with. Or you put Khalil Ware to the bench and slide everyone over. We'll see how it ends up going. But for me, Charlotte, I do agree with everything you said. I'm more of a ceiling guy. I like their ceiling a little bit more with this team compared to Miami. Yes, you're 100% right. It does come from the health. I like them drafting also Ryan Kalkbrenner as well. The center position, they obviously moved off Mark Williams. Let's see what Diabate does this year. But as a whole, on paper, Ball, Miller, Kneppel, Bridges, off the bench, Colin Sexton, Spencer Dinwiddie's a vet there. Listen, when LaMelo Ball was healthy in his younger days in the NBA, they were a play-in team.
Yeah,
that's what I'm anticipating. Because I like this team on paper a lot. And
it's good. It's
really
actually good.
Because when the draft happened and when some of the moves happened, I'm like, I told you off camera, I'm like, this team can be a jump team this year.
Plus, they got a new head coach.
Not this year, but yeah.
The younger head coach, right?
Charles
That's
Lee,
what I meant to say.
A couple of years ago, not this year. So it just comes down to the health. If they're healthy, this team can be a play-in team this year and even more. Can't take that jump like some of these teams have, like Detroit or whatever.
You saw these guys play well under Charles Lee last year. You saw moments where where these guys
finishing 14th.
Yeah, no, but when they're healthy, when they were healthy and they were playing well under him, and you saw good basketball. They made games tough against high-level opponents. But then obviously that's just the big concern here. And the big concern is just LaMelo's health right now, because if he's on the court, like you said, this guy led them to a playing spot in his first.
He's a fringe all-star.
2 years. Yeah. He literally is. Yeah, that's all I literally have to say for them. The bottom five.
But ultimately, these are the 5 teams that we do not have in the postseason picture. Before we continue with our 4 play-in teams, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We had a little bit of a hiatus. As you could tell, we're officially back. NBA season is underway in a couple of weeks. We still got the Western Conference to do. We still got other videos we want to pop up. So we want to make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the post notification bell. Do not miss content, because we'll be back here hopefully once a week for sure, if not more. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button and comment down below what are your overall standings predictions as well. We would love to engage with you guys in the comments as well. We're almost at 1,100 subscribers, so we want to get that as well. But let's get to it, our play-in teams. This is weird because all the teams I'm going to name feel like they shouldn't be play-on teams on my name standard.
It's literally gone so bold here. Yeah. Especially for my 10 and 9.
I mean, putting Miami Heat down there, in my opinion, is kind of bold. In a way, on paper.
In a way, yeah.
But let's get right to
first,
it.
Yeah.
Number 10, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. Number 9, I have the Boston Celtics. Number 8, I have the Indiana Pacers. And number 7, I have the Milwaukee Bucks.
So you went all out.
Teams that should be top 4, arguably, in a season into that spot right now.
I thought when I originally put this, I thought I was being stupid.
I was too.
But when I looked at the roster, I was like, okay, this kind of makes sense. At number 10, I have the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
At number 9, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. At number 8, I'm not buying into it a little bit as much as you are. I have the Atlanta Hawks staying in the same spot as last year. And at number 7...
here's an argument coming.
And at number 7, I have my Toronto Raptors.
Oh, okay. So you didn't go bias mode. So wait, who do you not have that I have there? So you have Boston and Philly.
I have
Atlanta and Toronto. That means Bucks and Pacers are higher for you.
Yes.
They're a top 6 teams for you.
Yes.
I really wanted to put the Bucks there. We'll get there in a second. Number 10, I went with Philadelphia 76ers.
Your this team, 1 seed from last year.
I don't know if it was 1 seed, but my title winners from last year.
Okay, that's what it was.
My title winners from last year. Joel Embiid's health is still up in the air, man. This is where I'm like, if he's not healthy, bump up Charlotte for me immediately. Bump up Miami 100%. For me immediately. 100%. Right? And even right now, it's not looking good for him, how it's going to be next year. Paul George got something hurt again. So it all doesn't come down to Tyrese Maxey. Jared McCain's already missing time to start the year as well. There's way too many question marks for this team. That's why I have them 10. It's now to the point where I have to see it to believe it. Because on paper, as of right now, Hoops Hype, the way they have their depth chart, have them labeled as healthy. But when you look into it, they're not actually fully healthy at the moment. Because on paper, they're a top 4 team in my opinion.
Here's the thing. They're going to want to hope for a generational rookie season for VJ Edgecombe.
Yeah.
Which I think it could be possible because he is a stud.
I mean, they're young. To be fair to Philly, their young guys do take a big step forward. Jared McCain, Maxey, and all these guys.
But when you're looking at it, I'm going to talk about the Sixers right now just because they're my 9 seed.
Yeah, so we'll just talk about it here.
Here's the thing. Injuries and all that stuff, you already know my takes on that. I 100% agree with you. But even if they are healthy, I still feel disappointed by them just because last year, these guys felt like they were already mentally checked out from the beginning of the year. I did not like Joel Embiid come out with saying that, oh, I'm not going to miss back-to-back games. I'm going to miss the second half of back-to-back games. Because that just feels like to me that you're just feeling...
You already accepted defeat.
You already accepted defeat, one. And two, you're just feeling absent to your team.
Yeah.
Number two, Paul George last year was all about the podcast. This guy, you could tell that he was like half retired, basically.
Extremely disappointing.
He was literally half retired last year.
I do expect him to have a bounce back if he is healthy. I do expect him to be more serious and have a bounce back.
I don't. Okay, yeah, injuries like that. I said I don't like, and Maxey's dealt with his fair share of injuries as well. I just don't like these guys' attitude, bro. I just genuinely don't. The way that these guys don't portray themselves as they want to play, which is weird because you are NBA literal all-stars, superstar. And Joel Embiid, but like coming out and saying that I'm not playing back-to-back games, doing podcast episodes and putting more effort in that in your actual craft.
Yeah,
it's just so disappointing, and I just don't trust these guys, even if they are healthy. I don't trust them because they just feel mentally checked out to me last year.
This year's a new year. We'll see what ends up happening again. I think 2 teams in the East. This is one of them where like the variance of where the ceiling and floor is very big.
It's very big.
It's very big because like again. When Joel Embiid was on the court last year, he was still, listen, at the end of the day, he was still playing at somewhat to an MVP level, right? He's still that superstar when he is on the court. At this point, like, we don't know. There's talks about him being retiring if he cannot bounce back this year, which, listen, I know me and you are not the biggest Joel Embiid fans, mainly more the flopping reasons, sometimes attitude, but it's still, even as NBA fans, we understand how good this guy is on the court, regardless of what it is. That's just a fandom side of things. But let's get to the Boston Celtics.
I just want to say this.
Yeah.
All right, this is the best opening statement for Celtics. You just never experienced a roster turnaround in the opposite direction as much as these guys experienced in one offseason.
So I have him at 9, and partial. It's tough. First of all, I'm gonna get this out of the way. Jason Tatum's progression from rehab and everything is very high at the moment. I don't know, like, if he should risk trying to come back this year at all. That's just me. I'm not saying I experienced any of these injuries. God knock on wood, I never do, but. Coming back from an Achilles is no joke. We saw people play through calf injuries that led to Achilles, aka Tyrese Halliburton, aka Kevin Durant back with the Warriors days, right? You should take your time and get better. I understand you're itching to play. Compete. I love that from Jason Tatum, right? And me and you are not even Celtics fans. I'm a Laker fan and I hate the Celtics. You're obviously a Raptor fan who's not a fan of the Celtics. But if I am, listen, the scary thing with this team is if they do end up coming 9th, they do not get in the play-in, they're going to get a top something pick. Or they could trade that pick and upgrade their team at the moment. So I'm going to get that out of the way. If I'm Jason Tatum, please do not rush anything. At the end of the day, as much as I'm not a Celtics fan, I am a fan of the sport. And you being on the court is the best thing from a neutral perspective to watch. So just be careful with that. But going back into it now. Jaylen Brown also had his little share of injury thing that he had to deal with. Let's see if he'll be fine to start the year. But it's time for Jaylen Brown to show why I am that, whatever was a $50-60 million player he is. Because right now, it was the argument, you trade one of these guys, mainly Jaylen Brown. He was in the talks of Kevin Durant trades and all that stuff. If Jaylen Brown, because like them and the Pacers are in a similar situation, because out of both the teams, Jaylen Brown is the better player. As much as Pascal, how underrated, I love Pascal Siakam. Obviously, you love Pascal Siakam. We both acknowledge that Jaylen Brown is the better basketball player, right? Like, do you agree or disagree with that? As much as you hate to say it.
If you're looking at it overall, yes. If I'm looking at it from last year, then no.
But their roster, I love Derek White. But everything else after that, Peyton Pritchard's not going to be jumped into the starting lineup. He's right now listed as point guard. We don't know if it's going to be him, Derek White, or Anthony Simons, which 2 out of the 3 are really going to be starting. Depth-wise, these guys are going to struggle a little bit. If Jaylen Brown misses time, this team is cooked. Because Chris Boucher, your former guy, is playing power forward at the moment, according to this, and Nemes Keita is a center.
Bro.
So that's the reason why I have him 9th place. Because
bro, the reasons are simple.
I love Joe Mazzulla too.
You lost your 2 centers, your 2 big men, which was, before you got them, or before you traded for Porzingis was a big issue for you guys and the reason why you guys were struggling in the playoffs. And you lost your point guard in Drew Holiday.
And a defensive
defensive monster.
As good as Derek White is.
And that was your other issue because you didn't have a guy ball handling, and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum bringing the ball up wasn't the greatest thing for you guys when you guys lost in that finals because they struggled with their turnovers. As simple as this. There's this roster other than Jaylen Brown, and even if he does play like that $50-60 million player and puts up 30 points a game, might not be enough to win games.
Yeah.
Because where else is scoring coming from? Derek White, as much as a great player he is, he's 3-and-D. He's catch and shoot. Is he going to set up his own shot? We don't know. Peyton Pritchard, same thing. Again, great player. But is he going to set up his own shot?
Yeah, okay. That one is a yes, because I believe he can, because he was a six-man guy last year. He is able to get a shot.
Yeah,
Derek White
so when
on
you
a consistent basis, I agree with you.
Derek White, but Peyton Pritchard's got to do that at a starter level.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's an issue, though.
So the other thing is also...
There's the issues right there.
There's no legit point guard. Like you said, Anthony Simons was a point guard over in Portland, but even then, he wasn't like that traditional type point guard that could, like, he could handle the ball, he could get his own shot. Anthony Simons is really good, but you were already looking to offload him when you got him as well.
Yeah, but even if Jaylen Brown does average 30, which is going to be very difficult, and I don't think he possibly will, but he still could have like 25 plus, which is a fair range from him. I don't think there's any other person that's going to average over 17 on his team right now.
I could see Peyton Pritchard, to be fair with you, because
I can see 15 from him, but like
I
like 18 plus.
Well, how much? Okay, let me see how much he averaged last year as a guy coming off the bench.
Yeah, but with a lot of support.
But no, but still, at the end of the day, that's
with not being game planned for it.
But now he's gonna get more touches, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, but that's the issue though.
He had 14.3 last year, so okay.
with support.
Yeah, so that means he's gonna go up a little bit.
Now you're looking at it. Now teams will be like, okay, Peyton Pritchard is a guy that we got to guard now. He's in people's game plans now because they don't have to worry about Tatum. They don't have to worry about Porzingis. They don't have to worry about Drew Holiday, and then Derek White is still gonna be there and doing his thing.
But even then, like, Peyton Pritchard was one of their main scorers last year. Drew Holiday was not a scorer for them necessarily.
But you had Tatum
Porzingis
and Brown.
was injured.
You had Tatum and Brown.
I know.
That itself just provides all the opportunities for you to do something.
I'm gonna check one thing quickly before we move on. Derek White, what was he like last year? He was at 16 last year.
I'm just saying this, bro. Like, yes, you're gonna have more touches. These guys are gonna have more touches, which is true. But they're not gonna have as much space. They're not gonna have as much room to operate. That's the issue here, right? Just because you have more touches doesn't mean you're gonna have more points. It's as simple as that.
No, that's true. Because unless you're efficient, or like even you might get more shots, even that make them inefficient, but you still get the points. What we'll see ends up happening to this team. Again, another team. I won't be too surprised if Joe Mazzulla does a masterclass of a coaching job. But again, this is all comes down to Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, and see how it ends up going. This is where we differ, right? Number 8 for me was the Pacers, and number 7 for me was the Bucks. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go with you?
You go first.
Okay, Pacers. It's just the health. I think the teams ahead of them are going to be more healthy. I think they're just better on paper at the moment. Tyrese Halliburton's going to be a big loss, but their team, again, I won't be surprised if they do take a jump forward, because let me just quickly pull up their thing here. At the end of the day, Pascal Siakam is now going to be the sole focus. And he was really good last year in the playoffs, but he still had Tyrese Halliburton to worry about. I love Andrew Nembhard. Andrew Nembhard is probably going to prove people, like, listen, when he plays for Canada, he's still considered a shooting guard. When he plays for Indiana, he's considered the shooting guard. Now we're going to see the true Andrew Nembhard at point guard, where he could handle the ball, play make. He's already a really good defender in this case. Ben Mathurin, that's going to be the big question. We're talking about Peyton Pritchard. He needs to step up the scoring. Simple. Like, he is the known scorer, like how Peyton Pritchard should be. This is where it's going to come down to it. They're losing Miles Turner. I know there's some slight drama with him. Like, I guess the Pacers didn't want to pay him, so he ended up leaving. Whatever the case may be, their center position is the one that's lacking. But we'll see what Jay Huff does. They brought him in. We'll see James Wiseman, Isaiah Jackson. They really like overall. So, like, depth-wise, I like this team. I know TJ McConnell's going to miss some time, and we both know how good TJ McConnell is off that bench, right?
Yeah.
And how good he was during the playoffs last year. So, for that reason, that's the main reason why I had him have the Celtics. I couldn't give him a big gap, is what I'm trying to say. I do love Rick Carlisle as their coach, don't get me wrong. But we'll see how it ends up happening overall for them. But a lot of pressure is going to be on Pascal Siakam to prove why he is one of the best players in the NBA. And if he does, this guy's going to get the respect he officially deserves for sure.
My number 8 team is Atlanta Hawks. All right. And I know you're mad. And personally, I'm usually a guy where teams like this who have really good off seasons, I usually get on the hype. The only issue is that every time I get on the hype for a team that I think have really good off season, usually doesn't have a really good team or doesn't really have a good season. This is just pure gut and just me pumping the brakes and I just want to see it before I believe it. That's the sole reason why I have the Atlanta Hawks in this position. I do think that from here on out, it's going to get tougher for sure. And I know you're itching to like blast me right now. And I know, like, I'm not knocking any of these players. Kristaps Porzingis, solid. Only concern with them, health. But good news is they do have a decent backup center, Kongu. Trae Young.
And they could play together too.
And Trae Young has been really solid the last few years.
He's been underrated now.
He's been underrated. But it's just the Atlanta Hawks vibe. Because a few years ago, when they made that ECF and like I went on the train for the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
I hopped on that train and nothing happened.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a similar situation. I don't know if it's going to be the same thing, history repeating itself. I know this team is better and more well-rounded. Just because they're the Hawks and I fell for it before, I just don't want to fall for it again. But that doesn't mean they've gotten better. That doesn't mean that I will be wrong. Just because of who they are and the team they are, I just need to see it before I believe it fully.
Get into the Raptors because I do want to, roster-wise, fit-wise, all that. Are they a better, yes or no, are they a better team than the Raptors?
Fit-wise, yes. Roster talent-wise, they're similar.
Okay.
I would probably give that to Raptors.
Bucks. Because you hate the Bucks.
I do hate the Bucks, and because I hate Doc Rivers.
But no. Hate's a strong word. But in terms of person. But you hate the team as like how it's constructed.
Yeah.
Outside of Giannis, they have nothing.
Miles Turner.
Yeah, but like nothing.
Yeah.
Like outside of those two, really, you have nothing. This Atlanta team, on paper, is better than that team, roster-wise.
On paper, yeah.
Because we fell into the hype before, and Miami cooked them a couple of years ago with the Bucks, and that was with a better roster, right?
But that was playoffs.
But I'm just saying in general.
But that was playoffs.
But I'm just saying in general.
You're telling me that the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis popping off can't get him to a 6 seed? I think that's very possible. Adding a guy like Miles Turner, I think, is going to help him. One, because he could shoot threes. Two, interior defense will be nuts there in Milwaukee. Obviously, perimeter defense is still going to be an issue. But like when you're looking at it, yeah, roster construction is not the best, most well-rounded team. Whereas Atlanta Hawks are a better, well-rounded team, in my opinion, better fit team. But when I'm looking at the Milwaukee Bucks, I buy into Giannis. It's just simple as that. Because this guy, in the last 2 to 3 years, if it wasn't for Shea and Jokic, would be the MVP in the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay, so I'll get into the Bucks here because I have them 7, and I'll let you finish off the Raptors. The reason I have the Bucks here is I would have had them lower if Giannis did not exist. Don't get me wrong, I really wanted to put him in the top 6. I thought you genuinely were going to have him like 9th or some shit. The way off camera, you're like, I got some bold takes. This is bold. The Atlanta Hawks one is bold. In my opinion, that's really bold.
When I put the Celtics at 10, I thought that was really bold.
It was bold, but then you could see a reason. You could justify that reason. Listen, at the end of the day, if this Bucks team, because there are already reports that come out that he's looking to be a Knick. That's going to be somewhat of a distraction. I put him a little bit lower. Because if this team is not good come close, like 2 months into the season, I could see Giannis getting traded. And it will not be surprising. Because this is the league that we saw Luka Doncic get traded out of nowhere. And this is a league that we saw Kevin Durant request a trade to get traded in the middle of the year. James Harden got traded in the middle of the year. So on and so forth, right? Giannis will be an MVP if this team comes top 4. I'm putting that down because there's no way this team should be finishing in top 4 without Giannis.
Well, they're not finishing top 4.
No. I'm just saying. I'm saying if they do, Giannis is MVP.
Oh, 100%.
Point blank, hands down. Don't even care what anyone says. But I have him at 7. I do not like this roster overall. Listen, Miles Turner is a perfect player to pair up with Giannis. We saw that with Brook Lopez, right? I'm not saying Miles Turner and Brook Lopez are the exact same players, but they're both rim protecting stretch bigs that were really good. Outside of that, Kyle Kuzma has not been good since when he first played for Washington. He has to be that consistent second scorer, in my opinion, for this team to be good. You got Kevin Porter, Cole Anthony off your bench. They need to be scorers for you guys as well. I understand Taurean Prince was fine for you last year. Gary Trent had those playoff moments for you last year. And we'll see if Ryan Rollins and AJ Green take another step. They have been there. And then on top of that, your coach is Doc Rivers. Defensively, rim protection wise, they're going to be elite. You have Miles Turner and you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Giannis Antetokounmpo could play 1 to 5 in terms of defensive ability. And you have one of the best rim blocking bigs in Miles Turner, and we'll see if he continues that this year as well. That's why I have him 7. I just have the teams ahead of him. Listen, they were neck and neck with the Toronto Raptors for me. I guess that spoils where I have the Toronto Raptors. But even like the other teams ahead of them, yes. Can Giannis go on his sicko mode run like how LeBron and Cleveland days, post Kyrie and pre-Miami? 100%. I could see that. But I'm also going to project a little bit that this guy might actually get traded during the year. And if that's the case, bump up Charlotte, bump up Miami. If healthy Sixers, bump them all those guys. These are going straight to the gutter. I cannot go into I got to see the team.
Here's the difference. Giannis is getting 30 plus.
Yeah, that's like guaranteed.
That's guaranteed.
Yeah.
I know for a fact, it may not be fully efficient, but I know for a fact Kuzma will get double digits. And I know...
But how efficient are those? That's the point.
Okay, that's more... I know Miles Turner will definitely get double digits, for sure. I think that because of that could be enough to have enough offensive output. And having guys, I guess... I would say, would you describe them as microwaves? Like hot and cold players? If they're hot, they're hot. They're cold, they're cold.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you have the biggest one in Gary Trent Jr. AJ Green is a good shooter, and he could get hot at any time. I'm not going to lie, and I know it was 5 games and they lost 4-1. But that playoff run without, or like those playoff games without Damian Lillard, I think it was games 3, 4, and 5, were pretty impressive for like the team that they had. And I think that is possible to replicate this year as long as your main man is there and they have one of the best main mans in the NBA and you improve that center and you still have a similar roster. I think that is enough for them to just keep their head above water and potentially, and if he is cooking, be a 6th seed. Because that's where I have the Bucks in the 6th seed.
Cole Anthony wants to prove people wrong. I get that. We'll see how he ends up going. It's one of those things where like, okay, if these guys are getting a opportunity here, they're here for a reason. We'll see how they end up taking that step forward, him and Kevin Porter Jr.
All right, I have the Raptors at 7. They're my team, right? And I was fully confident that they will be top 6, and I do believe that. But when I look at this roster in starting 5, you have Quickly, Barrett, Ingram, Barnes, Pirtle. That's very good. That's actually really, really good. And that, in my opinion, is a bona fide top 6 seed in the East, for sure. With decent depth pieces, Jamal Shedd, Grady Dick, Agbaji, Jacoby Walter, who's been pretty good. My concerns for the Toronto Raptors is, with all that talent in the starting 5, they rarely ever play together. Like last year, Quickly, Barrett, and Barnes barely played together.
Quickly was like not great when he was on the court, and I guess a lot of the time.
And Quickly, that first injury like really ruined him in the first game, because he was playing a really good first game of the season. But when I'm looking at it, we saw big jumps from Grady Dick last year and stretches from him, which is obviously huge from what he had in his rookie year. We saw RJ Barrett, when needed, could step up and be a primary scorer. Brandon Ingram, we know what he is on the offensive side. This guy is a bucket.
But he didn't wear that red, the North jersey yet for us to know. He has 0 minutes as a Raptor.
Well, in the preseason, he looks like a bucket.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying like in like meaningful games.
And then the biggest concern, at the end of the day, like I'm confident Scotty Barnes, he's going to do his thing. My biggest concern is when Jakob Poeltl is not on the court. Because that's when this team struggles interior-wise, defensive and offensively.
Boards. And
the biggest one is boards, just because when he's not on the court, this team struggles to get rebounds. And that's going to be a huge issue, and it has been a huge issue. And no offense to Colin Murray-Boyles, but Colin Malawach had to have been that pick, no doubt about it, just because you needed a backup big. And right now, the center depth...
Big of your future, not even just backup big.
But like your center depth right now is terrible. And it's literally Portal and everyone else. And let's see, like we have random guys that step up for Toronto Raptors. And I'm not saying Colin Murray-Boyles will be bad. This guy could be he's going to be a solid defender. Let's see if he could put up some points, which is, I know shooting is his main weakness, but defensively, this guy's a stud. He could also play make
like the
a little
classic
bit as well.
Raptors get the defensive, big, lanky,
defensive wings.
stalwarts.
Yeah, defensive wings. But that's the only concern I have with the Raptors. But when healthy, and if that's the starting 5 for the most of the year, I am 100% confident this is a top 6 team.
I'll save my talk for them in a second because I have them coming up next. So I'll give my 6, 5, and 4 teams here. 6, Toronto Raptors. 5, Detroit Pistons. 4, Orlando Magic.
For me, I have 6 Bucks, 5 Pacers, 4 Pistons.
I knew you had the Magic in top 3. I knew it. Toronto Raptors. So I'll continue the conversation a little bit. You didn't mention one big weakness they have. One glaring weakness. The spacing.
Yeah, that is true.
That is some atrocious spacing right now at the moment. Because, listen, that contract for Quickly does not look great at the moment. Because when he first got traded, he looked really good. He was hitting the shots last year. He was just injured. And because of the injury, did not play well when he was able to play well. And a lot of injuries in general. Do I believe RJ Barrett can sustain this coming year? Because I don't know. We got to see it. Because RJ Barrett has been that inconsistent player and throughout his NBA career, 10 years so far.
But he has been pretty consistent as a Raptor.
True. But yeah, but now the problem is RJ Barrett needs the ball. Brandon Ingram needs the ball. Scotty Barnes definitely needs the ball, right? Quickly, yeah, he could be good off the ball too, but he needs the ball if he's going to be your starting point guard to start up. I love Jamal Shead as your backup. Your one guy who's spacing is on your bench at the moment, and Grady Dick, who had a really good start to the year last year for them. You guys added the big Sandro from San Antonio last year. We'll see what ends up happening. Listen, I have him 6 because I feel like if healthy, this team will be able to figure it out. Because last year, this team was still good. It was just the injuries that let them down, and then just down the stretch, they kind of got away from the lack of experience.
Do you remember last year, for the first 20 games?
Every game was close.
We're lost by literally one possession.
Every
loss we had,
every game was literally close.
Yeah,
within one or a couple possessions. I have a question for you though, because it's so hard to judge him, Darko Rajakovic as a head coach. Because I can't as much as I want to say, do I believe this guy? But I can't even say I can't because this guy doesn't have a healthy roster yet.
He hasn't had a healthy roster yet, and that's the biggest issue. In my personal opinion, I do believe it's his last year if he doesn't make the playoffs at all. I think a playoffs has to be a must for the Toronto Raptors this year to view the season as successful. And that's going to be a big part. Do I think Darko pisses me off at times, obviously, but also has done some great things with the Toronto Raptors in his tenure. And it's like you said, it's hard to really put the blame on him just because his team just was so injured. But we saw when this team together, and even that year when we traded OG and we still had Siakam and we got Quickly and Barrett in, this team was putting up points. And that's obviously one because they got Quickly and Barrett and they were playing well, and still had Siakam and obviously Scotty Barnes, which is a very solid lineup. But that's also a good testament for the coach, because one thing I do believe in Darko is he will figure out that issue of who needs the ball, because I know there's 4 people in the starting 5 that's going to need the ball. But I think Darko will do a good job of spreading that out. That's one thing I do have faith in. But in terms of the certain, I guess, minutes distribution, some certain defensive
figure
setups,
out the rotations,
right? Rotations, all that stuff. That's where I have a little bit of issue with him.
So listen, Brandon Ingram over the preseason has shown he's still that scorer.
Yeah.
Number 3 looks weird on him. I'm used to seeing him in number 14. I don't know who has it on your team. I think it's Shed or someone who has it. But again, can Ingram be at moments that catch and shoot consistent 3-point shot guy? He said he wants to kind of be that. Obviously, he got the big contract. Without even playing a game, which is risky, to find when Scotty does have the ball, he could dish it out and see how it goes. We'll see. The one thing I do want to say, the contracts on this team are pretty big. They're big contracts for a team that's kind of mid as fuck at the moment. You could somewhat.
But that's a big reason why. A successful year this year has to be a playoff appearance for sure for the Toronto Raptors.
6 for you was the Bucks. Do you want to add on some stuff to it?
I already said it, man. I answered your question from the beginning. I think Giannis will be Superman, and that's going to be enough. And right now, Giannis has shown that when he is Superman, that is enough. So I'm not going to root against that at all, and then that's why I put him as a top 6 seed. So I'm gonna move on to my number 5 then. Indiana Pacers. These guys' depth is really good still.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest reason why I have these guys still in the top 6 spot is that we saw these guys win basketball games when Tyrese Halliburton doesn't score. And I know Tyrese Halliburton does a lot playmaking wise, which is huge. Don't get me wrong. But getting a guy like TJ McConnell hopefully back healthy sooner rather than later. Andrew Nemhard is good on the ball and ball handling wise. I think he'll be able to do that. These guys are still going to be able to run that pace and space, quick offense, transition offense. They still should be able to execute that with Nemhard at the point guard position. And other than that, like, you have people that step up scoring. Siakam has done it, obviously, and Siakam has to be the main scorer. We know that.
Yeah.
But as a second option, we've seen Nemhard pop off. We've seen Aaron Nesmith pop off, especially in the, I believe, New York Knicks game 1 in the conference finals, where he just couldn't miss from 3 in the last, like, 2 minutes. We've seen Ben Mathurin get, like, 20 points, here and there whenever he needs to. This number one option, as long as that's Siakam, which I believe he will be, and he has been really good for the Pacers, these guys have enough pieces around him and enough pieces that they could still run their system to stay in that top 5 position for me.
Number 5 for me, Detroit Pistons. Last year was a big step forward. I know last year when we did the preseason predictions, you're like, no, I'm going to see it to believe it. I cannot put them out of last place.
Yeah,
or wherever you put them last year.
That'll be for the Atlanta Hawks this year.
Listen, they were top 5 seed last year. I'm gonna hold the horses. I'm not gonna put them higher up just because the Celtics and the Pacers got injuries and dropped down. I still think they're gonna be a decent team. Now they put the team on notice. There's gonna be a lot more attention to them as well. There was some drama with the whole the gambling stuff. Who was the player again? Malik Beasley. And he might be coming back on the roster because I think they were able to figure that out. We'll see how it ends up going. Cade Cunningham is on that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander jump this coming season, and I fully believe that he should be in the conversation, in MVP conversations soon. Maybe not this year, but soon. And I fully believe in that as well. Jaden Ivey's gonna be healthy this year. We'll see what he's gonna be. He was supposed to be that top 4 pick that ended up going to 5 because he didn't want to be a Sacramento King in his draft class. Can he show that why he was a top pick? Asar Thompson is now going to be healthy because he had the issue with the blood clot, I believe. And then Tobias Harris was good as a Piston, right? At the end of the day. And then Jalen Duren's the quality big every team is looking for. Not that superstar level big, but like kind of like Jakob Poeltl type big, where like
gets the job
done, right? Like I said, I like this team, but I think they're going to be on par as they are last year. Because as you could tell, I'm a big believer in the Atlanta Hawks this year. I think as a squad, they should be able to be better than this team personally. And we'll see what Detroit does this year. And can they elevate themselves to be in the conversation where the Knicks and the Cavs are this year? I have to see that to believe it, but I won't be surprised if that happens.
I have the Pistons at 4.
Yeah, go with it.
Literally everything you said is right. Even if they stay at par, I just think that teams are going to get worse. So like just because of that, they're just going to move up in my book. So just because of that, they're number 4 for me. Again, I think I expect a literally similar type season similar season like last year, where they were in that conversation of in that 4, 5, 6, obviously playoff, play-in spot, number 7 range. So I think they're going to be in that range still. Cade's still going to do his thing as long as Tobias Harris continues what he did. Jaden Ivey did put up some points last year. Like I believe he had, I don't know exactly.
I'll pull it up.
Double check it for me, please. But I think it was over 15 when he was on the court. I think he was their second scorer after Cade. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I know that this guy will get his points.
He only played 30 games last year, so you got to remember take that into account.
Yeah,
but it was 17.6 points per game.
Like that's
on 46% shooting, but 3-point shooting was 40%.
So like that's good numbers offensively. So giving Cade help offensively, Jaden Ivey is doing enough. But like you said, can he be a top 5 level pick?
Basketball Reference has him projected at 20 points this year. So he needs to be there for sure.
He definitely needs to be there because at the end of the day, the only issue is like how much is it going to fall on Cade? How can the Pistons help alleviate pressure from Cade Cunningham?
And
that's the biggest question mark.
Jaden Ivey should be the answer.
And Jaden Ivey,
or
like
Asar,
you said,
or Asar Thompson.
Yeah. And like you said, he should be the answer to that, especially offensively.
4, it's your beloved Orlando Magic. Sometimes I wonder if you're a Magic fan or a Raptor fan.
I've been converted.
I jumped them up. A couple of reasons. 1, the injuries of the other teams. 2, they added Desmond Bane. But do I think they're a top 3 team? I have to see it to believe it because that offense last year, absolutely atrocious. And I know what you're going to say. Paolo Banchero was injured.
Apart from 2 players, though.
So that's the thing. And I believe Desmond Bane will be able to provide that third option to alleviate a little bit more pressure from Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. Franz Wagner has a big shot to become a first-time All-Star this year. I fully believe that. Like, if you were to redraft that draft class, Cade, Scotty, Wagner, and Mobley are like the top 4 picks guaranteed. Obviously, Cade number 1, probably Mobley number 2. People have an argument. I know you're going to go lean Scotty, but like people have an argument for Wagner to be ahead of Scotty, which is a fair argument at this point of their junction.
Yeah, but Scotty's 3.
But I'm just saying that in general, right? Off the bench, do you have the defense with Jonathan Isaac? This team's supposed to be good defensively. I fully believe that.
This team's still good.
It should be. But like you got Tyus Jones backup point guard. Perfect. Jalen Suggs is going to be healthy this year. Perfect. He's the defensive stalwart that can play make for you guys. And
you're a Tyus Jones fan, big one, right?
I like the way he plays. Like just like TJ McConnell, but a little bit worse than TJ McConnell, to be fair. But like just a guy who does not turn the ball over.
Yeah,
that's what you need from your point guard.
Yeah, bro.
He did not perform well for the Suns last year, but the Suns have their own drama.
The way you talk about Tyus Jones over the last year, the Magic should be a 1 seed.
No, hell no. Because I'm talking about everything else. That's a problem with this team. I have them jumping because, yes, they added that. They drafted Jason Richardson. We'll see what Tristan Da Silva does this year. So, yeah, this team's going to take a jump forward this year. I am a believer in the Atlanta Hawks. Clearly, that's why I have them higher, because I didn't mention their name yet. That's our biggest gap between the two of us. But this team, like similar to Detroit, should be in this picture. I will be heavily disappointed if this team does not take another step forward offensively this year. Simple as that. That's what I need. And Paolo Banchero can put himself into MVP conversations as early as this year, as long as he's healthy.
All right, top 3.
So
Number 3, Orlando Magic. Number 2, the Cleveland Cavaliers. And number 1, I am sticking with it. I said the New York Knicks off camera, and I'm saying that again on camera.
Number 3, Atlanta Hawks. 2-1, same as you, Cavs, and then number 1 will be the Knicks.
All right, this is probably.
I'll let you go to Orlando because we're talking about Orlando.
We'll be talking about our second favorite teams here.
Well, I'm not going to say Atlanta's my second favorite team. Like to the level that you do, but go.
Okay, yeah, well, obviously that's a joke too, but Paolo Banchero is going to get his. Franz Wagner is going to get his. That wasn't the issue all of last year. When they were on the court, they got it. When they played the Celtics in the first round, they got theirs. And that was the reason why the games were closer in that 5-game series. And that was also a big reason why they said they'll be Celtics in 7. But we'll ignore that part for now. Desmond Bane being a third option is a big W. It's just simple as that. Yeah. Because that's just going to... Because when you're looking at it, Wagner and Banchero, I could see a world, and I think you can too, where we're going to consider them a top 10, top 7 duo in the NBA.
When we do maybe our King of the Hills and stuff for that, we'll see what.
No, like as the season goes on, I felt like they might not be at the moment. They're probably like at the 10 range still, because obviously you still have guys like I'm gonna put health aside. You have like Shea and J Dub. You still have LeBron and Luka, Anthony. Like all those guys, especially most of them in the West.
Yeah,
I think
in the East, they're arguably.
But when I'm looking across the NBA, I think they're gonna play themselves into a bona fide top 10 at the end of the year, in my opinion. As long as they stay healthy. Like my biggest concern with Magic is health and them staying on the court.
And
defensively, and 3-point shooting, yeah. Defensively, these guys were still the second best, I think, second or third best defensive team last year with all those injuries. So defensively, there's no issues for the Orlando Magic. They have a very good head coach who's, drilled that defensive mindset into them. They have very good players that pull it off. Jalen Suggs is healthy, which is huge.
That was the reason why they dropped a little bit defensively later on, was because Jalen Suggs got hurt.
Yeah, and obviously, he's a literal perimeter lockdown, and if he hits his 3-point shots, that's going to be very big for the Orlando Magic. Desmond Bane, his defense is not bad. He has good size. Obviously, we know this guy's shooting is incredible, but
can handle the ball.
That's going to be the key here. Him spacing the floor is going to be the biggest key, in my opinion, to unlock the Magic offense.
Listen,
if he's being efficient and shooting well beyond the arc, we could see the full potential of this Orlando Magic team.
Yeah, like KCP was not good for them. He was supposed to be the
And they upgraded that.
And they upgraded that not just because of the shooting, but because when Ja was down, it was him and then the days when they had Tyus Jones, both of them together were able to get the job done for them, even when whether without Jaren Jackson Jr. there as well. Yeah, so because of that, there's a big upgrade. We'll see what ends up happening. I'll go with number 3 here, the Atlanta Hawks. Listen, I'm telling you right now, if this team does end up being 8th, Quinn Snyder's gone. Simple as that.
100%.
I'll say that.
Has to be.
I love this team on paper. Simple as that. Like defensively is what Quinn Snyder is known for. Dyson Daniels, really good. Zachary Ricochet had a good rookie year. Yes, is he gonna be what Paolo Banchero, Cade Cunningham, and all these guys are? No, he's gonna be a really solid role player for a long time in the NBA, in my personal opinion. Jalen Johnson's gonna be healthy this year as well. Kristaps Porzingis at the moment is starting off the season healthy, and we'll see. And he could stretch the floor, and he's a good rim protector. So defensively, I might not have that many problems with them. Trae Young has gone to the point where he's gotten some disrespect, and I wasn't even the biggest Trae Young fan to start off the year his career with as well, because I thought it was a little too much overhyped. Now I feel like he's way too underhyped, because I think he's a bona fide all-star player. At the end of the day, I do feel like he gets disrespected a lot. Yes, he is probably one of the worst defenders in the NBA. We'll see what that ends up happening, but his playmaking and shooting is one of the greatest in NBA you'll see. And I feel like he's going to elevate that even more. And to alleviate some pressure, you bring in guys like Luke Kennard who will space the floor, shoot the ball well, lights out. Yes, defensively, we'll see what happens with there. And getting a guy like Nickeil Alexander-Walker is big. He's going to be your main sixth man off the bench. The guy could handle the ball. He could play pesky defense when he needs to. And he could shot create and shoot the ball himself. We saw it during the Minnesota days. As Canadians, we saw it for Team Canada to a certain extent as well. Yeah, he may have traveled a bit over, but like last couple of years in Minnesota, he found a home and he showed why he was good. I feel like he's going to show it exactly why with this team as well. So I do like this team. I like the roster depth on this team as well. That's why I believe they're going to be a top 3 team in the NBA this year and could challenge for those top 2 spots as the season progresses.
Number 2, the Cavs.
We both have it.
As simple as this. This team's still really good.
Yeah.
It's just simple as that. Like, they have Mitchell, they have Mobley, who had a good year last year. They had Jared Allen. They added DeAndre Hunter. Let's see how he does in the starting lineup. I know he did much better
on the bench. It's because Max Strus is injured to start the year, so which is why he's there. They did lose Ty Jerome, who was very good for them. Off that bench as well.
But they do have another point guard in Lonzo Ball. Who's gonna be good defensively. Who's be good defensively. He's be still good playmaking wise. Obviously, shooting is still
we'll see.
Big question mark with him.
He was better as before his injury.
Yeah, but overall, you're getting a guy that's gonna play good defense, who has good size in a point guard position, and you have a guy that's gonna be able to facilitate and play make and set up guys like Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley as well. Obviously, you want Darius Garland back sooner than later. You want Max Strus back sooner than later. But overall, this team still, even with those guys injured, this team still doesn't have many holes with those guys out, in my opinion.
Big question mark is who's going to be the scorer after Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
In my opinion, right? Darius Garland is a steady point guard. He's an fringe all-star type player. I get that. Lonzo Ball should alleviate some pressure. But at the end of the day, we know if Lonzo Ball ends up going down as well, and that could be, it's a high risk for that. We'll see. But like to fill him at the starting spot at the moment is good. That's the reason why we haven't not first place to second place. Their biggest question mark is like on playoff time, and can they be healthy when it comes to the playoff time? Because that's when they end up getting all these injuries. Because Donovan Mitchell has to exert a lot of pressure, exert a lot of energy and stuff during the year. So I'm hoping someone like Evan Mobley kind of gives me. I'm not saying he's exactly like Bam, but can he take a step forward offensively a little bit for them to take that step forward? Defensively, we know they're going to be amazing.
I think the difference between him and Bam is that obviously Bam just needs to be aggressive. Mobley, for me, I feel like he should be able to. He needs to be more efficient from his 3 ball. Yeah, because that's when because he was more efficient last year from 3-point land.
Not just 3 ball, just in general.
Yeah, just more efficient offensively, and that's where we saw these guys have such a successful season. And obviously, Kenny Atkinson at the helm was a huge help last year. Let's see if he can continue that this year as well.
So the reason why we have second is because the injuries to start the year off with Max Strus and Darius Garland. We'll see how long.
Every East contender has some sort of injuries except for
number one at the moment. It is the New York Knickerbockers, and I'm going to just quickly pull up the depth chart. We know the one big change they made. They made a coaching change, even though they were almost there. Going to the conference final, or were they in the conference finals last year?
They were in the conference finals.
Yeah, almost should have been in the NBA finals, probably. We were surprised they kind of made that change. At the same time, maybe not so much. Here's the big thing. This Knicks team is going to be question marked in this postseason for me. right? There's no doubt this team is usually good in the regular season and are a top 3 team the last couple of years. If they do not get to the NBA Finals this year, it's going to be heavily, heavily, heavily disappointing, right? You went out and get Mike Brown, who was, in my opinion, wrongfully let go by the Sacramento Kings, who helped that team to get to the playoffs. The one thing with Mike Brown is he knows how to adapt to the times, to his players. Mike Brown was an NBA coach back when LeBron was in his first stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers. With the Lakers, he did not have the greatest success with the Kobe teams after Phil Jackson. I think he was the guy. But then he came back and showed like, yeah, I am a really good NBA head coach. We'll see what ends up happening. So that's the one. You know why that's a good thing? I do not see their starting lineup playing 40 plus minutes every single night, even if they're winning by a lot or losing by a lot. That was the problem with Tom Thibodeau. That's always been the issue with Tom Thibodeau. Because come playoff time, these guys get broken down, get tired, even get injured in certain cases as well. On the terms of the roster, adding Guerschon Yabusele, who had a really good year with the Philadelphia 76ers, who I'm like, why did Philly not bring him back? I don't know. Only on $5.5 million, and you bring in Jordan Clarkson, and you bring in Malcolm Brogdon, who I know needs to bounce back because of like he's been injury prone a little bit, but we know what the good Malcolm Brogdon looks like. That plus their starting lineup, they're going to be able to use their bench players a lot. Jordan Clarkson's a microwave player. We know that. Hopefully he gets to that 6-man type of player. And Yabusele from last year. This team is primed, in my opinion, on roster, on paper, the best team in the best in the Eastern Conference, and should represent this team in the finals. No questions asked.
Yeah, there's obviously 2 concerns you have for the Knicks. Number one, like this is my concern every time for the Knicks. Take away Jalen Brunson, which is obviously very difficult to do, but like if you just really blitz him and get the ball out of his hands, who's going to step up and score? And that's where I believe signing a guy like Jordan Clarkson is going to help, because he can consistently create his own shot and not be set up for. And obviously OG did a better job last year than setting up his own shot, but we know that when it comes to Bridges, OG, Josh Hart, these guys are more prefer to be catch and shoot guys than create by themselves and then shoot. That's where obviously my biggest concern always lies for New York Knicks, and obviously I end up being right because the Pacers kind of beat them like in that fashion where they really just get the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hand and this offense won't run as smooth. It's just simple as that. And I know that's huge because Jalen Brunson is their best player. That's why I feel like having a guy like Jordan Clarkson will help. And if he
not even just him, Malcolm Brogdon as well, because we've seen him be point guard in the
that's true. Brogdon as well, but like Clarkson, if he could just turn back the clock a little bit and be that like 6th man of the year candidate, I could see that happening for him. Yeah, I like Yabusele for sure because like we saw this guy with France in the Olympics.
He was the one bright spot outside of Jared McCain before he got injured in Philly last year.
Yeah, but we literally saw this guy play his way back into the NBA
and showed that he could stay.
So that's obviously huge. And the second concern I have is when Brunson and Towns are on the court together, that's when this team struggles a bit defensively because you have 2 defensive liabilities. So that's where we want to see, like, that's where you see
Josh Hart being your power forward, which is funny because he's shorter than Anunoby and Bridges, is hilarious. But we know Josh Hart plays big.
But that's where you have a guy like Mitchell Robinson who comes in a lot, but then obviously that's gonna tank your offensive production by quite a bit because you're not gonna have that shooting like Karl-Anthony Towns does.
But even those problems aside, you're gonna have hopefully a healthy roster heading into the postseason because you don't have Tom Thibodeau as your head coach. And then on top of that, just adding depth pieces to help Jalen Brunson. Just the team is still the same from last year. We'll see how good OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges are going to be this step up. Can Josh Hart hit consistent 3-pointers? But by far and away, they're the best team in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion. This was like one of the easier number 1 picks for me to do. And it's really hard because the Western Conference is, as the moment we're prepping that, is very hard to still predict, not maybe the first seed, but like everything else. But overall, that pretty much wraps it up for us. That's our overall standings. We're not going to list everything out now because there's only 15 teams. Primarily, this is also our playoff teams as well, right? At the end of the day, the top 10 teams make it to the postseason. So we don't need to say who the playoff teams are realistically. We'll come to that time when it comes down to it. Make sure you guys comment down below once again what your standings are. We want to see if it matches similar to us. Are we crazy? We'll decide if you guys are crazy or not. We'll see how it ends up going. Obviously, clearly for me, the big jump team is Atlanta Hawks. The big variance for us. So if Atlanta Hawks fans, tell us what you think down below, what you guys what do you guys think of your guys' squad as well? Our video popping up on the screen right now. Make sure you guys check out that video as well. Hit the subscribe button. Like we said, Western Conference video is next. That one's going to be harder, so you guys do not want to miss that. We'll catch you guys over there, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.